Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Crypto markets are down today, but just a little bit, nothing crazy here. And on-chain analytics firms, I find the information that they collect and report to be very interesting. There's a lot of things that you can consider when trying to figure out what's most probable in terms of market performance. You can look at technical analysis, you can look at fundamentals, you can look at on-chain analytics, you can look at sentiment just from a social media perspective. There's a lot of stuff that you can look at. And I do find some of the most interesting bits to come from on-chain analytics. How are humans actually behaving? Because we certainly, look, humans are what they are, right? We're all human. And you just keep seeing these cycles again and again. And it's true not just in crypto, certainly in legacy finance. You can talk about other asset classes, you can talk about stocks. Certainly true, you get these euphoric moments to the upside, and then you have these moments of incredible despair as people start taking profits, and leads to ultimately panic selling. But despite all of that, it's just interesting seeing what's happening from an on-chain perspective, because one very popular on-chain analytics firm says that, look, historically, what's going on with Bitcoin, they said it historically foreshadows positive returns. And so, folks, we are going higher, ultimately. And really, no matter what, like, even not being an analyst, because I have no interest in being like a technical analyst, I'm curious, people's perspectives and stuff, and happy to share people's various opinions and things, but it's an inevitability that this asset class is going to be infinitely larger than it is right now. So we're going to go up no matter what, but kind of the point that they're getting at is perhaps a bit sooner than later. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, just for fun. As I record this, XRP is down to 37 cents. Bitcoin's down to 21,850 bucks right now. But that's not too bad, down 0.36% in the last 24 hours. XRP fine, down 3.31%. Market cap for the asset class still over $1 trillion. Bitcoin dominance 40.81%. And hey, crypto fear and greed index 48 out of 100. So it's neutral, but that's a lot better than where we've been for most of the last 10 months or so in mostly fear and extreme fear. So that's progress. And by the way, I wanted to point out something rather interesting. Over the last 24 hours, as crypto markets have mostly been going down, frankly, my second largest holding, and I know a lot of you are into it as well, HBAR, it went against the grain. Like, sometimes you just see this stuff. I don't know if there's some sort of catalyst that I just haven't seen discussed. But a lot of times when this happens, there is no actual catalyst. It just happens. There is nothing you can point to from a fundamental perspective to say, well, that's what triggered that. And you saw HBAR moving dramatically to the upside. And fair enough, yeah, it's come down a bit since then. But this damn thing, 8.5 cents as I record this, it almost hit 10 cents, which is a clear level of resistance right there. But, in November, as people were panicking after the FTX Ponzi collapse, I was able to snag it as low as 4.4 cents. I saw it as low as 3.6 or maybe 3.7 cents, somewhere thereabout. And it has been one of the strongest performers since then, just rebounding dramatically to the upside. And I will not be surprised if at some point in the future, HBAR ends up being in the top 10 cryptos by market cap. And maybe it doesn't happen, but I won't be surprised if it does, because the amount of backing, and it's for good reason, for major corporations is almost completely unheard of. And so I thought I'd just mention it because I find it fascinating, and I know that a lot of you in the XRP community, like me, are also interested in HBAR. So XRP is still my favorite crypto, my largest holding, but HBAR is my second largest holding, and I'll not be surprised, to be honest with you. I won't be surprised if I end up making more money from HBAR than I do with XRP. It's a smaller cap coin, but it's got backing from major... look at the governing council. It's a decentralized autonomous organization. You got Google, you got Boeing. News just broke that Dell jumped on board. You got LG, just tons of household entities. And they see that there is a future for this. It's so rare to have something like this. Again, that's why for me, it's, where is it? Actually, for fun, let's take a look here. I don't know if it was hovering around the 30 in market cap. Here it is. Yeah, so 27 in market cap now. And just a few months ago, it was at like number 50. So we'll see what happens here, and nothing's guaranteed. But I would not at all be surprised to see it outperform. And so I'm sure many of you are aware, even though XRP is my favorite crypto, in terms of percentage gains, smaller cap and mid cap coins, if they're going to take off, it is much easier to get greater multiplying effects because there's less money in it. But even though I know that's the case, I'm still more interested in large cap coins like XRP because for me, that's the sweet spot where there's still barely any money in it. Just considering like a $1 trillion asset class for all of crypto, that's not big. So the fact that yes, it's technically a large cap coin, which is what it means that, you want to go where most of the money is, go to the top 10 cryptos, my market cap, fine. But I still argue there's not that much money in it, even though it's technically a large cap coin and it's been tested and I see real world adoption. So for me, XRP is the sweet spot. But I recognize that my smaller holdings, if I put enough money into them, it's more probable, but it's more like what's my profile for risk versus reward. And so for me, the answer is clear. I prefer the larger cap coins, that XRP specifically. Been holding Bitcoin since 2010. I've been holding Ethereum since 2010, since 2017. I wish I'd been holding it since 2010. I've been holding Ethereum since 2017. XRP since 2017. I just sit and hold. That's just my deal. But then I see HBAR and the support that it's actually getting from a technological perspective. It actually just works, blazing fast. Oh, let me take a sip of water. And so, I'll not be surprised if by the time this is all said and done, if I fast forward like 5 years out, 10 years out, and I look like, that market cycle where I finally sold my crypto ended up, I will not be surprised if it ends up being HBAR. There's less money in it, and it could get the multiple effect. And then on top of that, there's questions about what's going to happen from a legal perspective with XRP, because I think we as XRP holders, we got the shaft. It is BS. It's nonsense crap. But XRP only going to $2 last market cycle, the only top 10 crypto by market cap that didn't hit a new all-time high. Yeah, thanks, SEC. So and look, I'm still optimistic. But and who knows? Maybe I'll make still make more for my XRP. I'm not sure. XRP is substantially my largest holding here. But I saw this from XRP community member Frecky, and he's actually been in crypto since 2011. So he's an old OG for real, like an OG. And so Frecky wrote the following, because he's big into XRP, but also HBAR. And he said, first time my portfolio value regarding fiat dollar size is larger than my XRP since 2017. HBAR just passed it. So now HBAR is my largest valuation in USD, XRP second, due to SEC suppression, and still early. Power of large dollar cost averaging in the low price range. My XRP is very large allocation. So that's obviously because XRP is suppressed. It's unfair, but it's suppressed artificially by the SEC in terms of price action. And then you have HBAR just rocketing. So I'm actually not surprised that happened, but that's why for me, it's all about just dollar cost averaging. And there's a chart analyst Credible Crypto. He was actually talking about this too. And for HBAR, we are at local resistance here between 8 cents to 10 cents. So may see a small pullback. Would only expect the deeper pullback to 6-ish cents on a significant drop on the market led by Bitcoin, multi-$1,000 a drop. Otherwise probably won't be that deep. Once we clear this 8 to 10 cents level, I expect we head to the largest two targets at 13 cents and then 20 cents-ish. Looking good, H Barbarians. And his expectation is that when this thing ultimately pops and you have another alt season finally, he's looking at this thing hitting, I believe he said $2 to $5. So wouldn't mind that one bit. I will exit my position entirely if we're talking about that. Because it would be too great of an opportunity not to. Now, as far as what we can expect looking forward, I want to share with you a couple things here. This is from chart analyst Income Sharks. He said 2023 is a new year. Start looking at charts from January 1st and on. I've been looking at price discovery and dips. Most still have bear PTSD and will fade this rally for months. I'll get bearish if we start seeing full retracements. Yeah, so he thinks what's most probable is we're going to continue to see a move to the upside. And he also noted in a separate tweet, I don't really feel the need to read it, but he's just indicating, look, a lot of the reason we've seen in recent days Bitcoin and crypto in general going back down, he thinks anyway that has to do with the SEC FUD. Obviously, I'm sure you're all pretty well aware at this point what happened with the SEC and Kraken, the settlement, the $30 million, all that. But the stuff doesn't last, and nothing goes up in a straight line forever, so But that's why it's good to zoom out. Take a look at this from TXMC, who previously actually worked with Glassnode. I find him to be a rather insightful individual, and he's encouraging people to zoom out and take a big picture look. So he shared this chart, Bitcoin, number of active entities, and active entities It's the sum of unique network participants on chain each day. And so you can see this chart going back to 2015ish, and look at the point he's making though. He says the Bitcoin network continues a multi-year expansion across bear cycles, showing steady increases in entity counts at the lows. We like the trend. So there you go. It's just, that's why I keep saying, like, for me, it really is just a waiting game. It is that simple, actually. Just set it and forget it, basically. Because even though you have these major pullbacks or bear cycles where Bitcoin will drop 80% ish, sometimes more, sometimes less. Look, it's just data. It's on your screen. The adoption is continuing, and Bitcoin leads the market. I'm fond of Bitcoin. Again, like I said a few minutes ago, I've been holding it since 2017. It's not my favorite crypto, but I'm appreciative of it because it kicked all of this off. And it does lead the market. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But take a look at this from the Daily Huddle. Bitcoin flashing conflicting signals about the start of the next bull market, according to two analytics firms. Bitcoin is printing conflicting signals about when the next bull market will kick off, according to metrics shared by two different crypto analytics firms. Sentiment says that Bitcoin continues to have a high correlation with the S&P 500, which the firm notes, quote, limits the likelihood of an upcoming bull run, end quote. And I'm actually kind of surprised that, because look, they are just, the data's on your screen, there's a chart right there. I'm somewhat surprised by that because, yes, I mean, I certainly acknowledge the correlation. I've talked about that. But the S&P has been up. So even though there's this correlation, you still get much greater percentage moves to the upside for Bitcoin than you do for the S&P. It's just that the moves correlate, not the degree of the moves. The degree of the moves do not. No. It's much greater for Bitcoin and crypto in general, obviously. But at some point again, like what are you expecting? The S&P, it's just never going to keep climbing. That's why, again, for me, when it comes to investing in stocks and crypto, it really is just a waiting game. The people that make the money are the people that purchase and then do nothing. The data shows that. That is why that is my strategy. I didn't invent the strategy, but I acquired the knowledge that, hey, the people that don't do anything, even when the market goes down, they don't try and time the market. They don't decide that they're too smart. They're smarter than everybody else. Those are the people that make money. So it's so simple. But anyway, piece continues. Masari, on the other hand, notes that Bitcoin moving averages recently materialized into a golden cross. Golden crosses happen when an asset's 50-day moving average crosses above its 200-day moving average, and Masari says that it historically foreshadows positive returns across 6-month and 1-year timelines. So it's another thing that you can look at to say, okay, if history is to somewhat repeat or somewhat rhyme with itself, let's say, then over such a timeline, just based on how things have unfolded in the past, you should expect that we'll be sitting pretty, compared to where we are now and where we have been in recent months. And so again, it's just one more thing that you can look at, which is why I'm incredibly optimistic for the future. Other than a wild card event happening, so I always have the caveat there, if the crypto contagion from FTX, if it actually does spread, but I don't know. I've been thinking that it's going to spread, or that it would, but maybe I'm wrong on that. That's certainly possible. I mean, my suspicions about various things in crypto aren't all going to be correct, and maybe I'm wrong on that. It's very possible. But even if my suspicion, that the contagion would spread, even if that ends up coming to pass, well, I'd treat it as another opportunity to buy cheap, and then I'd recognize that these capitulation events, they don't last forever, so it doesn't matter anyway. It's just still one more pit stop in the lows, and then just fine. You're still going to move to the upside. So I still wouldn't care. I don't care one way or another. I am sufficiently positioned. Like, honestly, if I were not allowed to buy another cryptocurrency in my entire life, just based on what I have right now, I think I'm good. I'm probably good. As long as I'm allowed to sell. I want to be able to sell. But in terms of, if you're like, you can't ever buy ever again, I'm like, well, that sucks. But I think I'm going to be just fine. I've sufficiently positioned myself. I hold about 30 different cryptocurrencies. XRP, my biggest position, for a number of reasons. A lot of it really having to do with fundamentals also, because I figure, even if out of nowhere the asset class matures very quickly, and then most coins that don't do crap go to zero, because at some point you would think that would happen. Well, even if XRP goes down, if everybody's freaking out, it's going to live because it's useful. It's not just going to get chucked to the waste bin. So that's why. That's a huge part of why it's my largest holding. And then I look at HBAR, I'm like, this is interesting. It has actual utility as well, which is why I find it so appealing. So it's my second largest holding. So, but still, I have very reason done what I've done, and I have sufficiently diversified. So I'm just excited and looking forward to seeing how everything unfolds. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.